Coach Jim Knowles, Oklahoma State. I understand why you guys why they've had a great defense. Ohio State's defense. I don't think he's all talk, but man, he can definitely talk. He can definitely talk. Hopefully this season when they play Notre Dame, we can see if they really walk the walk. Man, where do we begin? So, Coach Knowles, media availability, and he is a guy that's very concise, very clear. This man is something Ohio State's defense definitely needs. He's something else. Very clear, concise, specific. He is very spot on point of what he wants. He's not on games. And he went over his terminology, and he's very clear about his expectations. He's laid them out there. So we're going to get into it, and let's go over it. So some of the he's throwing, basically, Ohio State's defense has not been what fans expected, the college football committee expected, or to their liking, especially when Urban Meyer was there. One of the reasons why, even though they lost some of the games, weren't up to the liking. Hasn't really been good. Let Utah do whatever they want. Let Oregon do whatever they want. Let Minnesota do whatever they want to that, especially in the first half. He wants change. So basically, the first thing he wants Ohio State to do is learn what a float player is. So basically, a float player is a player who floats across the defensive line. His next word he likes to use is Mike. Mike is basically what he calls Mike middle linebacker. So the M-I-K-E, he's saying middle linebacker. He calls Will the athletic, fast, weak side linebacker. The bandit, bandit is the boundary safety. The adjuster is the middle safety, and obviously everyone knows what a nickel defensive back is. So just a little new terms. I have never ever heard of a bandit. Basically, is a boundary safety. Okay. We have some great things. So basically, another thing he has something to look out is Kourt Williams playing boundary safety, aka bandit, and I just went over that. That's basically the boundary safety. Kourt Williams and Ronnie Hickman could potentially be playing together. Now we looked at Ronnie. So Kourt Williams and Ronnie Hickman could be potentially playing safety together. Obviously, it's going to depend on how they perform in practice and how they continue to learn his defense, because he's not playing around. He believes that the defensive line can be the best in the country. We've seen a couple days ago that Jack Sawyer, a very highly recruited guy, one of the best players to come out of the state of Ohio in a very long time, is going to be a big part of that. Obviously, he was ejected, unfortunately, in the Rose Bowl, but he's a guy that he looks to see step up. He looks to play Case Stover at linebacker, and he could potentially play DN. It says Jack. Dude was saying a lot of different things, so he could potentially see Case Stover playing linebacker and defensive end. And then he calls the free safety the adjuster. That's what he calls it. He thinks, and he has Cam Martinez potentially being the nickel safety. And then he has, one thing that he is trying to get through Ohio State football players' head is a tackling technique. I guess he's not a fan of how Ohio State previously tackled. Now, I'm not a fan of it either, but he doesn't seem like he was a fan of it. And he's been working with the defense on positioning without bringing guys to the ground. So basically, let me read that again. He has a big emphasis on tackling technique, positioning without bringing guys to the ground. So he's basically coming in, changing up everything. And if you ever watch, football games, they show the starting lineups. I'm going to need a starting lineup because the man said a lot of stuff in his interview when he had with the public, students, student media, national media, local media. He said a lot. So to go over it again. So basically, a float player is a guy who floats across the defensive line. He calls Mike the middle linebacker. Will is the athletic, fast, weak side linebacker. Now, a big thing for Ohio State, that's been a very weak position for us, that linebacker. So anything he wants to try, I'm with it. I'm fine with it. And we need a will. If there's a will, there's a way. If someone wants the will, he's focusing on Will. Not a player named Will, but Will. Weak side, athletic, fast, weak side linebacker. We can get athletic, fast, weak side linebacker. That would be very helpful. Now, we've had guys develop over the years. We had, Malik Harrison. He ended up developing over the years. I miss the guys like Ryan Shazier, Raekwon McMillan. Joshua Perry was also a great linebacker. You could look down the line of the Silver Bullets. Bobby Carpenter, I believe, was a great line. I was too young to see Bobby Carpenter play. He talks about a bandit, which is a boundary safety, which that should be played by Kourt Williams is playing. So he has him playing the boundary safety. Kourt Williams, it looks like he's going to have a lot on his plate this year. Now, I think Jeff Hafley was the defensive coordinator when Jordan Fuller, Super Bowl champion Jordan Fuller, was there, and he put a lot on his plate because he felt like he was one of the more intelligent safeties he's had, so he gave him a lot. This could potentially be our Jordan Fuller. Now, Jordan Fuller had the great opportunity to play with, he had Arnett, Okudah, Chase Young, Malik Harris. So they had a great team. If Ronnie Hickman can step up, them playing together, we'll see. But man, a lot on the plate. He's changing everything. And if we can get athletic, fast, weak side linebacker, whoever that's going to be is great. This defense is going to be very improved, and I think I'll go back to having this spring break is definitely needed because just some of the terminology, some stuff that I know what a nickel. I think we all know what a nickel linebacker is, but he's throwing a lot of different football, terminology at them, and I think it's very important, especially linebackers, especially communicating this to the defense is going to be key. This defense is looking different. He's changing a lot of things up, and do I feel bad for him? I mean, it's a lot to learn, but I think we've all felt bad for our defense having our offense have to put up all these points. The defense is going to be much improved. And this spring break is going to be time for them to learn some of this terminology in the packages because it's going to be very hard. I think it's going to be very, very hard for quarterbacks to change pass protections and read his defense. You can say what you want about the Big 12. It's going to be a lot of confusion for a lot of these quarterbacks in the Big 10. I feel mostly bad for them. I don't feel bad for the players on our team. Your spring break, learn the terminology. But when the season comes, it's going to be very hard for these quarterbacks in the Big 10. One game at a time, we play Notre Dame. But this terminology, the changing, a big emphasis on tackling technique, just going over everything. He's changing everything. You look up his interview. He's very, very direct and specific about what he wants done. And I could see why Oklahoma State was one of the top defenses, not only in the Big 12, but in the country last year.